And I, the lovely lady there next to Santa, we invited you here so that you could get to know James and see what his thoughts are about the city of Jersey Village. I think you'll find that he's got some significant differences between his opponent and himself. And thanks for coming out here. And we realize that there could be some noise back there, and if you'd like to order a hamburger or a Coke, or they have draft beer, that's perfectly fine. I've known James and his wife and his family for maybe about 10 years. In my opinion, they are a very high quality family. I've known them for my affiliation from the volunteer fire department. Both of them are parts of that. James met Lynn, and this is Lynn over here with their children. She is due in about 2 weeks, so if she has to get up and walk quickly out, you realize why.
You better go with her.
Yes, there you go. Lynn has born and lived here her whole life. James met Lynn when they were in high school, and James discovered in order to be by somebody that he eventually married, he needed to hang out at the Moore House there on Jersey Drive. So James has been here in the village about 10 years? About 10 years. They own a house here. They've just bought another house, a 2-story house. Their family is getting bigger. James is part of, he's a Christian man. He's a conservative. Goes to a local church here. James has been a public servant far longer than any thought of him being a city council member. Probably about 15 years? 16. Been in a volunteer fire department for Cy-Fair, been in the Jersey Village Fire Department, been in the Jersey Village Police Department. And he's been on a couple of city committees. And I think that the one that caused him to be thinking about this was the public advisory, the comprehensive plan. What's that called?
Comprehensive Planning Advisory Committee.
Yeah, that. I call it the 20-year plan, and he was appointed to that or volunteered for that about 4 years ago. And what that was to take a look at what do we need to do to make Jersey Village significant in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, so that it doesn't become Spring Branch. Parts of Spring Branch are just not vibrant. They're not doing well. And when you sit down and you think about what could we be, I think that causes somebody like James to think about that at a lot of times when he's not in the meeting. And that might have been the kernel of him thinking, okay, I have these things that we could be helping Jersey Village. That might have been the kernel where that came from. You can tell a man his quality by the people that associate and support him. Okay, so I wanted to bring this up because there's a very striking difference between the people that support James and the people that support his opposition. Let's start with the current city council. Okay, there are 5 sitting members of the city council. Every single member of the current city council support James. Not a single one of the current city councils supports his opponent. There are 3 previous city council members that support James. There is a previous mayor that supports James. And so if you look at the quality of the people and the people that care about where this city's going, they have looked and talked with James to see his views. And to me, that's the best indicator of the quality of a man, is the person that he attracts to help him reach his goal. What we're going to do is, I'm finished speechifying. This is really James's show. James is he's going to speechify some. Then we're going to have some question and answers. And I'm going to turn the mic over to James for that. James has never done, I've never done this. I've sat at one of these and discussed with people, but I never put one of these on. And so I said to James, we'll talk about, these are your friends and people that would like to hear what you have. We're going to be very civil. We're going to have well manners. We've got maybe 15 or 20 minutes of question and answers. James will ask you a question and recognize you, and he will repeat your question so everybody can hear it. Then he'll give his thoughts on it. Okay? But let me tell you what you're going to hear. You're going to hear his vision of what he thinks will benefit Jersey Village. Let me tell you what you're not going to hear. You're not going to hear long, pontificating, multi-syllable, lawyer-like lingo that when you finish, you walk away going, what did he mean? Is he yes or is he no? You're not going to hear about James, okay? James is going to be very straightforward. You may ask him a question and he hasn't really got an opinion about yet. He'll say, I don't know the answer to that. I haven't thought about it. And he'll talk about, if he has that, how he will arrive at an opinion. And then at the end, I will do about a 1-minute wrap-up. I will tell you that if you would like a sign, James has got some of these beautiful blue signs. And I also tell you that if you would like to donate to his campaign, as the treasurer, could he take some donations? Would he accept them? Okay.
Legally, I'm the treasurer.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, we know who the treasurer is. She said yes. So if you would like to do that, if you do want one of these signs, it has to go from your sidewalk towards your house, not from your sidewalk towards that. Okay, enough speechifying by me, and this is James.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I have known Lynn more than half my life now. That was something we celebrated 2 years ago. And I met her, we were both homeschooled, we both served on student council together. Fell in love pretty right away. So we started to date. I spent a lot more time in the Morris house. I spent a lot more time being involved in the Jersey Village community. And so now, about 16 years of being involved in this community. I've owned a house for 10, but I've also ridden on the fire truck before I was a homeowner. I was out riding the fire truck. I worked on the ambulance a lot. Lynn and I served, we both were partners on the ambulance for Jersey Village Fire Department, and really enjoyed that time to get to know the community. And that was what convinced me when we bought the house that this was where I wanted to raise my kids. I love the small town community. I love the character of the houses and the people here. We're all very invested here. And I don't want to see, like you said, this turn into Spring Branch or some of the other areas of town that were valuable, great places to live that fell because people were not involved. I'm a very conservative person. My kids play soccer at Foundry. My girls go to dance at JVBC, which is now Champions Force Jersey Village. And then we used to attend the Met off Jones Road. And a couple of years ago, about a year ago, we started going to Hope Church, which is in Jersey Village. It's at what used to be Epiphany, is now Love Presbyterian Church. My church rents that facility out on Sunday nights. And so you're welcome to join us any Sunday night, 5 p.m. is where Hope Church is. And then we office out of the David Ambrose appraisal buildings right there on Village. I have been in public service since my childhood. I rode with my dad when he was at the Cy-Fair Fire Department. I would videotape fires, and he taught me how to refill air bottles and how to care for the community. That's kind of what grew me into the guy that goes running towards burning buildings when everybody else is running away. And through the fire department, I got to know law enforcement a little bit better, and that's when I started learning that I wanted to help those that couldn't help themselves. And running towards bullets is nothing that I'm afraid of. I've done it. I've been there. I've been shot at. It's not a fun experience, but people need help. And so that's what I've been about for 16 years. Andrew Mitchum many years ago, I met Andrew through some community events, and this was before he was on council, asked me to apply to join him with the Comprehensive Planning Committee. And we served on that committee. There was a series of meetings. There was 20 people on that committee. And I knew a lot about the city when I was at the fire department, the police department. But I really learned a lot when I was in the Comprehensive Planning Committee. And it really got me thinking about Jersey Village 20 years from now and what we want this place to look like and what's required to make that happen. That was when I learned about the golf course and got to sit down and understand golf course finances and realize that this place is profitable for most of the years that it's been open. And when Mike Castro came, you saw a huge jump in the profits here. And then later on, it continued to be profitable. We've seen some downturn recently because of 290 construction, but I think you can agree that once 290 construction is gone, we'll continue to see this property be a profitable investment for the city. The Bear Creek Golf Course is closed and will not be opening, and so this facility is going to sustain. I think it was right of City Council to look at replacing this building. I've been very involved with flood mitigation. My in-laws and some of my friends live on Jersey, and some of the other associated streets that flood. It's a real problem. Flooding affects every member of this community. Whether your house floods or not, it still affects you. And so I care a lot about flooding. I think that the community should do whatever we can to improve our flooding problem. And that was one of the reasons I went downtown and talked to Commissioner's Court about it, and now they're going to do some work. So outside of that, I think I'm going to stop talking, and I would like to get some questions from the crowd. So
I got the first question.
here we go.
So you've been in fire department, you've been in the police department. Tell us what's the kind of the best thing you liked about it and what was not the best thing, and that's my only question.
Fair question. I really enjoyed serving in both the fire and the police department and all the committees. When I was in the fire department is when I got to know community members I hadn't run into before, and I got to know the heart of the fire department. And now in my job working for Harris County, I serve 54 different fire departments in this county. And I can tell you without a doubt, Jersey Village beats every one of them in customer service. What I didn't like was the day my boss volunteered me for a new program, and I got to sit down and they asked me to go out and do code enforcement in Jersey Village. They wanted me to go out at night and write citations for code enforcement issues. I was volunteered for this. It was not my favorite thing to do. I was displeased. I don't think it was the right move for the city. But I'm a hard worker, and I've learned a lot about different code enforcement, how it should be applied, and that was not my favorite thing to do at all. And I think it was a mistake of the city in the way it was handled. So, anybody else have a question? Yes, sir.
We talked a little bit a couple nights ago. I'm Charlie Daniels. I'm not going to rehash all this. I think it's important to know your opinion on this myriad of regulations in this city. The fact that there's no sunset law makes you go back and look at those and decide if they're still relevant, or you raise them to question. So I think a key charge if you're elected is somehow look at all these things, find out if they're still meaningful, if so, make sure they're working.
Yep.
And implement a sunset. That's my comment.
So Charlie's question is about our ordinances, our code of ordinances, and that there are a few code of ordinances that we have that are no longer applicable or outdated or ones we no longer follow. And should we have a sunset type commission to review our city codes? I think it's always important for the government to review what's on its books. And I could definitely see that being part of, we always review our charter every 10 years. I think it is a good move for our city to make sure that everything that is on law is something that should be there. And I would think that would be well handled with a citizen committee.
Are there any cases where those should be voted on? Are there any cases where those should be voted on by the citizens?
To remove code of ordinances, I think that being involved in government is always a good thing. And to repeat his question for anybody that didn't hear it is there anything that requires a citizen vote? And we should always be involved. That's what you're here today to do, to elect the right individual for that job. And there are some code of ordinances that can be left to a city vote, and there's some that need to have citizen comment. And that's why at every council meeting, as we just saw on Monday night, having a citizen comment is helpful for the council to make the right decision on what to vote. Anybody else have a question? Yes, Ms. Grady.
James, how do you feel about the what's it called? The red light, come on.
Red light cameras.
Yes, that.
So Ms. Grady's question is, how do I feel about red light cameras? I think that red light cameras work, and I think that the city had a vote. There was a petition just recently, and it was 2-1 support of the red light cameras. And we're the only city. There was a group outside of Jersey Village that came here to get rid of our red light cameras. And we're the first city in Texas to fight that group and get it passed to maintain our right to decide as a citizenry and not somebody outside of Jersey Village. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Thompson.
I'm Thomas Sherrouse, and by the way, 2 years ago today, I was sweeping water out of my house. So, most of these people work too, they're my neighbors.
2 years ago today. It was the tax day flood.
From what I understand, we did this survey that cost us umpteen gazillion thousands of dollars. That was already done in 1996 with the same suggestions, and 2 years later, we haven't made one piece of dirt. But that's not my question.
Okay.
My question is, the thread about the cut-through traffic, there's 200 and some odd comments, and on one comment, it looks like you're agreeing with Bobby, and on another comment, you look like you're agreeing with whoever wrote the comment. What is your stance with the cut-through traffic on Jersey Village? Because it's going to be, like they say, close to Thanksgiving or after until they're ready.
Okay. On that 203 comment, most of my comments, I was trying to put forth information on those. Someone had suggested that we do a permit or resident.
Repeat the question.
Thank you. To repeat your question, you were asking about where I stood on cut-through traffic. And on there, it was suggested that there be a permit or resident membership type exemption to what was being proposed. And one of the things I brought up is that that's against the Constitution.
Well, actually, well, no, the first
And
comment was
I felt
had a
that
three-way stop sign.
that was probably not a good idea, and it would put the city at risk, and the city attorney agreed with that and said it was problematic. I think that it was proposed for discussion, and I think that we need to continue to look at cut-through traffic in Jersey Village. We're a very centralized location. We're going to have cut-through traffic until there, as long as there is an easier route through Jersey Village than the feeder road, we will continue to have cut-through traffic problems. You mentioned prior to that about studies for flooding. I wasn't here in 1996. I know that the most recent study said to build the berm, redo the Wall Street neighborhood, raise or buy out houses, and to deepen and widen the bayou. And I support all 4 of those things. The city has had some delays in getting the berm built. I think it was the right thing to engage the Burke and Strong study, because I don't know if y'all noticed, they were out here with surveyors and actually surveyed to get good data, because you can't make a good decision without good data. The city engineer is supposed to be bringing forth a plan so that it could be enacted as quickly as possible. The Harris County Flood Control District is not letting us redo Wall Street until we're able to retain that water somehow. Once we build the berm, we can redo the Wall Street neighborhood. After that, we are in the final stages of getting approval for a grant so that we can raise 18 homes in Jersey Village. The next opportunity, we should reapply for that grant and relook at more houses. And then the final is the Harris County Flood Control District and deepen and widen that bayou. That bayou and all of the associated detention ponds are all owned by Harris County. And we can't go move any dirt without the approval of Harris County. In 1998, they said we need to deepen and widen this bayou. And I'm just disappointed, the same as all of you, that we haven't seen them deepen and widen this bayou. But about 2 weeks ago, the commissioners have started to put funding into those projects. And deepening and widening the bayou was one of those that was unfunded but approved. And 2 weeks ago, myself, Andrew Mitchum, Austin Blease, and Mike Stembridge, who's here today, went downtown and spoke in support of Jersey Village. I did some homework beforehand, talked with Commissioner Cagle's office and the Flood Control District to make sure that there would be dirt work in Jersey Village because it's very important that we improve the bayou. Yes, sir. Yes, Charlie.
Will you have input on the decision as to the actual details? Too bad, you didn't get one.
The berms construction?
The berm, is that all decided already, or is that something you'd have input on if you're elected?
So Charlie's question is, will I have input or will the elected official out of this race have input on the construction of the berm? At this point, the city engineer is working on designing the exact layout and placement of the berm. So yes, whoever is elected will have input or a vote on that.
Would the fill, where would you get the fill? You could deepen these ponds that are already here for fill dirt, or would you have to go out and buy it somewhere and have a truck in?
Charlie's second follow-up question is, would we dig out the ponds in order to build the berm, or would we buy dirt? First off, I'm not the expert on that. It's not something I've researched. I do agree that digging out the pond and creating greater value and water acreage to store the water is a value. But I would also leave it to the city engineer to make a recommendation on that, in which I can study and research when it's time to make that vote. Right now, I don't have the research. And I believe in having good data to make good decisions. So I would have to defer and go with what the data shows. Anybody else have a question?
Talking about traffic, of course, and that's what we had some years ago, trying to make no left turns and all this stuff. I think one of the traffic issues has been for a long time, all cars coming through the golf course parking lot to get to Rio Grande. That's a really immense. One answer obviously would be somehow go straight to Rio Grande instead of winding through the golf course. It seems to me like another answer that I've mentioned for several years is we're only about 100 yards from connecting Rio Grande to Winchester. Wouldn't cost hardly anything to keep that connection. Then you could get out of town, going out Rio Grande all the way up to Winchester. You wouldn't have to
Yep.
build new bridges, new roads, and spend these all kinds of money.
So I think your question, Charlie, is how do I feel about Jersey Meadows? Again, cut-through traffic has to be addressed. The last study said that we needed to wait until 290 construction was finished before we made any action on cut-through traffic. Everybody cuts through the golf course. We all know it. Okay. And lately, it's been just about everybody and all of our neighbors around here. I do not agree with moving Rio Grande into Winchester country. The Jersey Meadows project is in the comprehensive improvement project plan, and it is something to still be discussed. At this time, I do not see that happening. but I think it is something that we need to look at. If you extend Jersey Meadows, you also bring more crime into the back part of Jersey Village that's currently closed. But then you also have the people in the lakes and other areas that would like to see that open because they're cutting through this bridge now that is not designed for this kind of traffic. So we need to do something, but we also need to wait because right now with 290 construction, we can't get an accurate assessment of the traffic issues. Yes, ma'am.
I actually got two statements of concerning cut-through traffic. Number one is, this would take for all of our road ends due to excess traffic. And number two, couldn't we just obviously put up a sign throughout the village that it says, "Be courteous to JV residents"? You know, they need to be courteous to us.
I like your sign idea, and it's something we can look at. I agree. Unfortunately, roads are something that the city does have to spend money on. Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a question, but I am hearing a lot of questions here that are addressed at the city council meeting, and I can say this, these guys are too nice to say it, but we have started going to the city council meetings, and you will learn so much if you go. It's become something that we look at the calendar and make a point, if we're not busy, we're going. Because a lot of the questions that are being asked, these are the things, there was a 4.5-hour meeting 2 months ago. You don't have to stay the whole time, but there were so many issues on that night, and you leave with a wealth of information. You're hearing it from the guys who are making the decision. You're not hearing hearsay. You're not reading trash talk on next door neighbor. So I encourage all of you, look at the agenda. They may hate me for this because they're going to go, "Oh my gosh, all these people are coming to the meeting now." I'll never get that.
No, I wouldn't hate you. If we had more citizen involvement in city council meetings, it would be a better city. My mom taught me when I was 12 years old, if you're not there talking, somebody's talking for you. And you,
Well, it is. It is. But it is a lot of the things he's being asked. Those are decisions right now that are ongoing in the council. And you just learn a lot. I would encourage you to make that happen. Yeah, I've heard that too.
I agree. I think the YouTube thing was great. I'm all about government transparency. I think Bobby himself is pushed for some really good things. So I think I'm going to take about one more question, and then I would really like to have some time to personally meet everybody and talk to everybody. Is there any one more question that we have?
I have one more question. I'd like to know why you're a better candidate than Simon Hughes.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. I'm a family guy. I've been involved in Jersey Village for 16 years. I've met some of you for the first time. Some of you I've known for those 16 years. I'm a public servant at heart. I did not plan on running for city council in December. Everything I've done is because I care about the city of Jersey Village. I've been in my house for 10 years. On April 27th, I close on my second house in Jersey Village on Delosier because my family's getting too big to stay where we're at. But I love the community so much that I want to stay here. So we've been looking for a house for 3 years and found one that meets our needs, meets our price point, and it means that I can stay here and continue to be involved in the community.
That's the answer I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I hope you see the man that comes through, okay? This is an intelligent man. He and his wife have put themselves through a multiple collegiate level courses to get the certifications they've had to do. When I say they are a quality family, if you get to know them, I mean, like I have, I've worked beside them, you would know in your heart that this is the type of council member we need, okay? He's got a young family, a second generation. We've got a wonderful balance of some seasoned and families just like this man has that are going to be staying here and are looking at what we can do to keep our city vibrant. And we met today for a little bit, And he said, you know, Kurt, I'll make my decisions on 3 to 5 years from now. I'll look back and go, yes, that was the right decision for Jersey Village. So this is going to be a really low turnout election. There's nothing going on but this one race, and a lot of people will go, I don't think I need to go. If what you heard tonight, you think this man will represent you the best, please go vote, because this is going to be a very low turnout. So we wanted to give you all an opportunity to talk with James one-on-one. So he's going to stick around, and we're here till 9ish or so, and he wants to speechify some more, so I'm done. But please come up, talk to James, and please vote. And thank you for coming out tonight.
I forgot to mention, I do want to visit with each of you. I'm not going to have the time to get down your email address. If you don't mind, I would love to add you to my email address. I am very big on citizen input, as evidenced by my comments tonight, and the only way I can get that is if I can contact you. There's 3 forms up here. Pick one up, put your name down, your email address, maybe a phone number. If I have any questions, I can reach out to you. I would love to contact you and get to know what your plans or your concerns are with Jersey Village. Please take a sign, and thanks for coming.